The Colosseum was a place where the best of the best threw down to see who would be the last standing. Some contestants came from nothing, just to rise to the top. What if I started with the bare minimum in Elestrals, just enough packs to make a legal deck? I would clash with other casters with the eventual goal of winning a tournament. Every win would reward a single randomized pack to upgrade my deck, with other rewards along the way. Will I be the last caster standing? It's time to enter the Colosseum. Alright guys, welcome back to Elestrals Colosseum episode 3. Sorry for the delay. I have been testing for the webcam tournament that happened yesterday. Didn't do too well in that, but it's my first big tournament. Had a great time doing that. But anyways, we are back to the Elestrals Colosseum grind. I did talk to a few people, and most people think that it is a better idea to open up a single pack of Shattered Stars rather than spinning for one card. Most of the Shattered Stars packs aren't too crazy. Like, there's some that are crazy, but there's others that are just kind of worse just because, you know, they have less playable cards in them. So most people seem to think that opening a pack is the better idea. So we're going to do that here today. So without further ado, let's crack open the bundle. If I can, I got to be smarter than the pack. There we go. Alright. Give it a little shuffle, and take this one. There is some decent stuff in Shattered Stars water, so obviously we get the 5 commons. For the holo slot, I think a Tsunami might be the best thing that we can get. Ironically, the Golden Apple of Discord is in here, and that would be hilarious just because we still can't seem to figure out how to resolve that card. But anyways, let's see what we get. So we got Sluggle, Jertagua, Narpoon, Caprigal, Bubloon, and of course we're going to get the Golden Apple. So second Golden Apple here. That'll probably go into the deck for sure. Don't know how to feel about that one. I think that's quite comical after episode 2 and how I could not remember how to resolve this thing to save my life. But anyways, we'll get to the deck building now. I'm sure some of these cards are going to make it in there, so I'll let you guys know what changes. Alright, so here's the stuff we decided to cut. Decided to take out the Nemesail, the Cyclovenom, the Glidesdale. I only have one Wind Spirit anyways, so while some of these might come back later, like the Nemesail is a pretty solid card, but with only one Wind Spirit doesn't do a whole lot, so they might come back later, but for now they're going to go away. Next is the Tadflow. Same thing here. You can expend 1 Frost in order to special ascend into an Celestial with enchantment cost of 1 or 2 from your hand. It's a 1/1, so it's not that great in that aspect, but I think we also only have 1 Frost Spirit, I believe. Let's see, 1 Flare Mine in here. Yeah, the 1 Flare Mine, so even if we correctly enchant it there's nothing else that we can do with it, so just as a 1/1, not going to make the cut for now. And then the Racer Ridge and the Imperial. Racer Ridge, it's pretty small on the stat side. It's a 4/6, so not too great. It only negates 1 attack, and that's only if you expend a Thunder, so not too great there for our kind of deck. And then Imperial's pretty solid, however, not too often are we going to be able to correctly enchant it, and without correctly enchanting it, it's just an 8/12, and spending 3 spirits on 8 cost or an 8 attacker doesn't seem the best. So that's what we decided to cut. We added every single thing we pulled today, so just to go back over that, that's the Sluggle, Jertagua, Narpoon, the Bubloon, and the second Golden Apple of Discord. So added all of those. They all seem pretty solid, at least better than the stuff that we cut. And then we did go ahead and we added the, where is it? The Leviathan in here, and we cut a Luminape that we spun from the random wheel. So that's kind of what the deck is looking like now. Same thing, just adding in those cards. Actually feels much better, I would say, just from those few cards that we pulled and added in today. So we will see how it goes in the first game. Alright, here we are in game 1. I'm playing against MDM Scrublord from the Discord. Big thanks to him for playing a game with me. I go first here, looking at my options, and Looks like I decided to cast with the card that's glued to my hand every single clash, the Golden Apples, and this time I made it a point to resolve this card correctly. I make sure I discard, he discards, and he mills the 2 off the top. So finally, I think it's been 5 resolutions of this card, and I understand how it works, so good thing there. I go with the discard of the Cyprong, he lays out his cards. I go with a die roll here to just select randomly, so every card is 1 through 4, 1 through 4, 5 through 8, 9 through 12, and so on. And I roll a 14 here, so we hit the 3rd card. And we hit a Chains of Prometheus, so Chains is an okay hit, not too crazy for us, and we mill a Tsunami and a Draking, which is pretty good. So we know he's on some kind of Draking deck in this game. Not too good of a matchup for us because we just want to summon a lot of, or cast a lot of stuff and hope it sticks, whereas if he gets that Draking out, he just starts taking things and we have nothing to deal with it, so hopefully it doesn't get to that. But we'll go ahead and cast an Earth Scout in defense, set a back row, and pass the turn over to him. I did get a new camera, or I guess not a new camera, but I got like a ring light that my phone attaches to for recording, so hopefully that is better. There's a bit of the glare you can see on the bottom of that Earth Scout right there, but hopefully overall it's better for the series. He starts here with a Blizzard. Blizzard targets a face down back row specifically and destroys it, and the back row that it targets cannot be changed to it. So he targets the only back row we have set, which is a Chains of Prometheus. We just decide to let that go. Obviously we can't respond anyways. And it looks like he goes with a cast here of Eddie. He'll switch the Earth Scout to attack position so he can easily get over it. And he will set 1 back row and he will swing over the Earth Scout. You can see we drew the Jurtagua right there, and we have the Caprigal in hand. We decided to throw in basically everything that we pulled from the water pack, and it is already coming into play here. We expend a draw here, grab a Sluggle, and we have nothing else that we can do, so we just throw it back to him. He's going to draw for his turn, and he goes with the pretty Nectar of the Gods to draw a couple cards. Already not in too good of a position here. He looks like he wants to cast something. Yeah, he's going to go with the cast of the Peliquarius. So the Peliquarius is a 3/4, and it allows him to search for a 1-cost water Elestral. He's going to look through the deck and see what he has here. It looks like he's going for, I don't know, having a Peliquarius in here for a bit of consistency isn't something that you see too often, but we know he still has the Draking in here. Don't know what else he's working with. And he opts to grab a Sluggle here. So he'll be able to do a bit of healing later in the game if he needs to. Not sure it'll come to that point, but we shall see. And he will swing for 2 with the Peliquarius and the Eddie here. So we are going to throw the Luminape, and we will throw a Leviathan. We now have 5 Leviathans, so feel pretty decent on expending 1 there, especially with the Sluggle in hand. And the Luminape, we don't have a single solar card, which is crazy because I know we opened, I think, 2 Daybreak packs. And so we go with a cast of Narpoon here. Brand new card. I think I called this Sluggle last turn. Anyways, Narpoon will allow us to search a 1-cost Frost Elestral. It's like I'm doing some reading here. Ursicle was one of my options, which would allow me to search something else. I want to say I had the Ursmog in hand, or maybe I draw that next turn. I don't remember exactly, but that would be a good combo piece with that. Yeah, and there we just verified the card, or Narpoon specifically says to search, so we show him that we grabbed the Ursicle. And pass it back to him. We could have crashed with the Eddie, which in hindsight might have been a better play because that would have stopped him from being able to ascend into this Draking. However, not a lot that we can do at this point. He will be able to start killing everything and taking control of it, so that's exactly what he does here. He takes out the Narpoon. He is going to cast the Narpoon with the Water Spirit and actually be able to resolve the Narpoon effect because he correctly enchants it. So he'll be able to search for zone 1 cost here. He's going to get a Catarant for some more healing later if he needs it. Not a good spot to be, and of course we just opened the water pack and have a bunch of water cards, and we are going to be able to give him a whole bunch of cards to use here to get some good effects on. Looks like we're going to expend 2 more here, one for the Dry King over the Narpoon, and then a second for the Narpoon being able to swing for another. We're going to draw here. You can see we draw a Pandolence. I'm still not used to this camera angle. I need to quit flashing my cards on the screen. I didn't realize it was this bad during the game. Looks like we go with the Jirtoggle here. Be able to heal a couple here, but same thing. Not a great position to be just because next turn he can attack over with Dry King and correctly enchant the Jirtoggle to be able to heal on his own. So we'll send it back to him. He is going to expend to draw here, and he will do exactly what we thought it looks like. He's going to be able to get over the Jirtoggle with a Dry King. He's going to be able to take the Jirtoggle while doing a damage to us. He will correctly enchant the Jirtoggle, and he only has 1 Leviathan in the Underworld, so he'll go ahead and grab that one back. So he'll do 1 damage from that attack, and then he'll be able to swing my Narpoon and Jirtoggle for another 2. So we're getting pretty low here. I'm trying to think of what I have left that, you know, I might need later in this game. I draw a Smoky for turn. Not going to do a whole lot there. It'd be cool if we had some way to get to the Caprigal. I was hoping we might be able to get that out when I saw it in the opening hand, but looks like we don't really have any option for that. Hopefully we can get a Tad Buff or something in the future to make that work. We go with a Pandolence here, which is also not a great option to throw into a Dry King, but at least it lets us get over the Jirtoggle here. I'm thinking maybe getting rid of that might be a good option just because then he can't ascend over. I guess he will still have the Narpoon to ascend over if he wants to, but we'll go ahead and take out the Jirtoggle there anyways. And then next turn, he might be able to take the Pandolence once again with the Dry King and correctly enchant it to get its effect if he chooses to. At this point, he can just do just about anything that he wants here. He's got a whole bunch of cards in hand. Not too low on spirits. He will expend to draw again. So looks like he in that Huge Hand doesn't have any Elestrals to work with. He will go swing the Jirtoggle over the Pandolence, and he opts not. Or he opts to take it. He just does not have the Lunar Spirit to enchant it with to get its effect. I think the only thing that he could get back would be a Chains of Prometheus that we had him expend or discard earlier. But he's not able to do that anyways. So he's going to go ahead and swing for, what, 3 in total? Yeah, 1 from the Dry King battle and then 2 more direct. So once again, not in a great spot. We draw here. We grab a Rummagem for turn. Rummagem's a solid card. It'll let us search out something else, but however, I don't think we have anything that will be able to help us enough here to get back into the clash. Looks like our best option here is probably a Mudlet, which doesn't do a whole lot. Even Dry King has an effect where if one of the monsters that it, or one of the Elestrals that it takes is still on the board, you cannot target it for attacks. So even if we find a way to buff that Mudlet, we still can't get over the Dry King. Maybe if we draw into Necklace, I think that's the only thing we have to buff attack. That might be our only way of getting over the Dry King. But even then, we still can't target it for attack, so it doesn't matter too much. He's going to go with a Nectar there, draw a couple cards. Looks like at this point he's got half of his deck in his hand here. Hopefully he has something to do. Looks like he'll just go... No, not to battle. he's going to send the Pandolence to the underworld to ascend over into a Waylance. So, as you guys know, we have 2 Rummagem in the deck, so the Waylance actually, the effect will actually come into play here. He will swing the Waylance over the Rummagem. That'll force us to send any other Rummagems in our deck to the underworld. And actually, I think it's the way it's worded is Waylance lets the user look through the opponent's deck and send any to the underworld. So actually, if he wanted to, he could get full knowledge of the deck here, but I think at this point he realizes that he has it either way. So he's going to go ahead and swing the Drakking in, swing the Narpoon in. Might be the most valued Narpoon that the game of Elestrals has ever seen. I got a search off of it, he got a search off of it, and it's done, I don't know, 5-6 spirits worth of damage. I'm going to go ahead and draw there, and I do get the necklace. However, I think I'm too low on spirits at this point for it to make a difference. I might be able to get over the Waylance here. However, I can't get over the Drakking. So, like, yeah, I only have 3 in hand here. And I don't even have a Teratlus to activate the Mudlet effect anyways. So I can cast out the Mudlet, I can misenchant it, I can throw the necklace out, buff it to 8, crash with the Waylance, and then I just lose next turn if that's the case. So I throw an Ursmog out here, misenchanted, and defense. Doesn't really matter what I do at this point. It is too little too late. So looks like we will fall to 0-6 on the series. He goes ahead with the Drops of Leaf here. This is actually quite comical. He like I said last turn, he had half of his deck in his hand, so let's see how many he throws back here. He's gonna throw a Gloombat, another Waylance, a Laurels, a Sluggle, another Gloombat, a Lavalith, Gorgon's Gaze, and I believe that's another Blizzard. So it's that 8 cards he throws back, and he's gonna be able to draw 9 here. Another crazy value Drops of Leaf here. At this point, he knows this isn't necessary. He just wants to see what else he can get. You always wanted to resolve the crazy cards that you can. When you can draw 9 off of any one card, even if it's at the end of the game, it doesn't matter. You definitely do it. You can see the double Ambrosia in his hand. I think he goes ahead and shows us here. He's got the Nectar and the double Ambro, so he goes ahead and swings, takes out the, or swings over. He can take it if he wants. It doesn't matter at this point, so we just send it to the underworld, and he does the last 3 spirits. So on to game 2 of this episode. Alright, after the loss in the first game, we're here for game 2. This one we're playing against Aqua Dragon. He's actually become a pretty good friend of mine. He's helped a lot with the channel, given a lot of feedback and whatnot, so big appreciation to him. But he went first in this one. He went ahead and set a back row card, passed it over to me. I set 1, and then I cast Rummagem. Can activate the Rummagem effect in order to search. We've got a couple options here. Now I have a second Rummagem in the deck. I've got Mudlet, Cyprong. So quite a few options here to go with. I think looks like I just decided to go with the Mudlet here for some utility. Also, sorry for the delay. I know I mentioned in the last game that I was preparing for the tournament and whatnot, but I've also been sick this past week or so, trying to get over that, and didn't want to sound too terrible. I know I might sound a little monotone. There it is. Anyways, so I'm, while I'm getting used to this, getting better at the commentating and whatnot, so wanted to make sure I got a little bit better before I jumped back into it, so apologies for the delays. Looks like Aqua's going to go here with a cast of Dratagua. He's going to go ahead and heal his 2 spirits back. And looks like that's all he's going to do. He's going to pass here, so looks like we're in a decent spot here. I feel like we can do something here. Looks like we have a Galaxy to cast, which is a pretty solid option here. It's going to switch the attack of all water enchanted Elestrals, so his Dratagua turns from a 1-4 into a 4-1, so we'll be able to get over it really easily here. And so yeah, I went ahead and swung over with the Galaxy and then attacked for 1 with the Rummagem. Passed it back over to him. So actually this is probably the best scenario that we've been in so far early game. We've got, you know, better board presence. We've actually got the back row set, which I believe is the Chains of Prometheus. He goes with an Earthquake there. He's able to get rid of our Galaxy pretty easily with that. So hopefully we can keep this momentum going. If we can get into something to ascend into or whatever, just to give us a better shot at winning this clash here. He's going to put out a Zaptor, and looks like he's going to cast a Necrof Misenchanted. And looks like he does swing over the Rummagem. So takes out the Rummagem, leaving us with nothing on board. Very unfortunate for us. Even if he didn't have the Earthquake there, then we might have had an Ascension play. However, not on the cards this time. We do have the Mudlet that we searched off the Rummagem earlier, though, so we can go ahead and swap that Necrof to defense and take it out with the Mudlet. Actually, looks like he goes with a Tsunami here. He wants to change our Mudlet to defense, and we can go ahead and cast our Chains of Prometheus for the first time in the series here to negate the Tsunami, ensuring that our attack does go through and we are able to take out the Necrof. So Chain's a pretty expensive card here. However, it allows you to negate a counter rune, and then the opponent can heal 1 spirit back from their underworld. So looks like he grabs a Water Spirit to put back here, and then the attack will go through, so the Mudlet will take out the Necrof. Alright, so after the Necrof goes to the underworld, he's on an open board here, so pretty solid spot to be in. Hopefully we can keep the momentum going. Looks like he's considering his plays right here. At this point, I'm not too sure of what he's on. We've seen a little bit of everything. Water Spirit and then Eddy. So he'll go ahead. No effect on the Eddy. He's just going to be able to swing over because he's bigger. 4, 2, 3. So Eddy will clear the Mudlet and he will pass back to us. So we just need something to get over this Eddy here. Looks like we got a pretty good early back and forth in this one. Not too many crazy plays happening. This is just the kind of game that we want to play. So we go ahead and cast out the Foloi Forest here. And we do have the Cyprong in hand, so we are able to cast out that Cyprong. The Foloi Forest is going to buff the Cyprong by 1 attack and defense because of the Teratlus enchanting it. And so that will make the Cyprong just big enough to clear the Eddy. So we'll go ahead and swing, take out the Eddy, and pass it back over to him. At this point, I'm kind of just hoping that we are able to get something to stick for more than 1 turn. Although we can see he's got 5 cards in hand here, so looks like he's trying to figure out exactly what his best option is here. And after a little bit of thinking, looks like he has made his decision. He's going to throw out an Owloon here, which is a bit scary for us, and he brings out the Drakid. So Drakid is a 2/2, but it has an effect where it can swap its base attack with the base attack of another 1-cost Elestral on the field. So he'll be able to switch the attacks of my Cyprong with his Drakid, making his bigger and able to clear our Cyprong. So once again, he's able to remove our only threat on board, leaving us with nothing. And here Cyprong has an effect where I believe if an Earth Elestral is destroyed, then it can send the spirit that was enchanting it back to the field. But I believe the Cyprong has to be on the board in order to resolve that. So just clarifying that that's how that works there. Here you can see our hand doing a little bit of the flashing that I'm really good at. So Boltuga's in there, some Morfrost in there, we've got a Drops of Leaf in there, Bubloon, and one of the bears, I believe. But we go ahead and cast out the Bubloon. Bubloon's a 1/2, and it buffs any water enchanted Elestral by 2 attack and defense, I believe. So it'll make it just big enough to clear the Drakid. So we're going shot for shot at this point with Aqua here. Just hoping that we can stick something here and whittle him down to get to our first victory. Looks like he's made a pretty quick decision on what he wants to go for here, and he gets out the Astrabbit here. So Astrabbit, the best card in Elestrals, lets him look at the top 3 cards of his deck, add 1 to his hand, shuffle the other 2 in. Very good card here. Very hard for us to figure out how to get over. We basically need an Ascension play at this point. We're hoping for a draw of the Capra Gold that we got from the water pack, which would allow us to clear it. However, we go with the Golden Apple off of the top here. So once again, we do correctly know how to resolve the Golden Apple this time. We'll throw down an Illuminate for it. We'll discard the Boltuga, and then we get to hit 1 out of his hand at random here. I believe he's got 5 in hand at this point, so a lot of options here. We're going to go ahead and roll for it. And we hit a 7, so that'll be the second card out of his hand. That second card turns out to be an Eddy, so actually a pretty solid hit for us. We don't have to worry about the second Eddy. And then he will mill 2, and he hits a Gorgon's Gaze and a Drakking, so pretty good hits for us. The Drakking is terrifying for our deck just because we have no defense to stop it, so if that Drakking comes out, it's basically game over. There's not a whole lot we can do. Here we opt to go for the Drops of Leith. We're going to use Illuminate and trying to figure out what the best option is for the second spirit. We're going to go with an Owloon here. Looking back at this, I probably should have done the Golden Apple first and then discarded after we drew and, you know, got something that we didn't need. That would have just given us an extra card. However, no big deal. So we throw back the Scout and the Morfrost here. Drops Leith is going to allow us to draw 3. So really just trying to get to something to ascend over here so we can clear the rabbit and have a big presence on the board. Hopefully get out something that's hard for him to deal with here. And unfortunately, we did not get anything to ascend over, so probably not going to have anything big enough to clear the rabbit here, which is very unfortunate. We go ahead and swap the Bubbling to defense. And we expend to draw, so we throw out a Zaptor, going to draw another card here, just looking for something else, see if we can ascend over, and we do not get anything useful. So going to pass it back over to him. He's going to draw up to 5 in hand, and he is going to cast out a Dratagua, so he'll be able to heal another couple spirits here, just making it harder for us to get our first one here. This is kind of a weird spot for us to be into, because if we get something that can clear either the rabbit or the Dratagua, like you want to kill the rabbit so he has no way to continue to gain advantage on us. However, knowing that he's on Drakking, it makes it very difficult, because if he just draws another Drakking, he can hard ascend over the Dratagua if we opt to kill the rabbit. So went back and forth with the decision on this turn. We drew the Pandolence there, so I opt to go ahead and cast out that Pandolence with the Leviathan, so it'll get the +2 attack buff off of the Bubbloon effect. So we're able to clear something here, and I opt to go for the rabbit, just hoping he doesn't have the Drakking in hand. Wanted to stop him from getting the advantage. Pass it back over to him. And it looks like our worst case scenario is coming true. He throws down the Owloon, and he does have the Drakking Ascension, so he is going to take control of this game. We don't really have a whole lot to take care of this Drakking. Just a couple cards in our deck can get over it. Necklace of Harmonia basically buffs just about anything big enough. However, if he is able to cast one of our Elestrals with the Drakking effect, then we aren't able to attack into the Drakking anyways, so kind of a rough spot to be in right here. He does opt to take the Bubbloon, and he is able to correctly enchant it, so his stuff will get a bit bigger here. He finds that nice Lunala sleeve as a proxy or token for the Bubbloon. It looks like he throws it back to us here, so While we don't have a whole lot of back row to deal with, we are looking down this very difficult to kill squid on the other side of the field. Looks like I go with an expended draw here, just trying to get a little bit deeper into the deck, see if I can pull anything together to deal with it. Don't think I found anything. If I actually found something to deal with it, I probably would have slammed it down as quick as possible. So, yep, not able to do anything. We leave the Pandolins in attack, which is probably a misplay. Didn't think about that in the moment. However, pass it back to him, and he looks like he's going for another Ascension play. So he ascends over the Stolen Bubloon with a second Leviathan, and he gets out the Curibus. So he gets out both of the rock in a hard place Ascensions here. He does have a back row this time to set with still 3 in hand. He's going to swing over the Pandolins with the Draking, forcing us to expend 1. And it looks like he does opt to take the Pandolins as well. And so here I'm just reading the effect of Pandolins to him. When Pandolins is correctly enchanted, you can disenchant 1 from it to reset a rune from your underworld. So he is able to correctly enchant it. However, he wouldn't be able to use that effect until next turn anyways. But he'll be able to go ahead and swing for another 2 from the Curibus and then a 3rd from the Stolen Pandolin. So we throw out another few spirits right here. Don't have too many left. And at this point, this clash is looking like it is just about over. Not too much we can do here to come back from this. Looks like we cast out the Urseer here. I believe that's Urseer. Might be the Ear Scout. Need a better camera. And we can't even do anything with it here. We have to misenchant it. I just threw an attack. I think we only have like 1 or 2 spirits left here, so this turn should be the end of the clash anyway. So looks like we are going to fall to 0-7 on the series. Yep, he steals the Earth Scout here, and we just show our hand of a whole lot of stuff that can't do anything for us. So yep, Draking's a tough matchup, but on to game 3. And here we are for game 3. So Aqua is back for game 3. Decided to run it back. He didn't use the exact same deck. I think he swapped some stuff out here. So might be going against Draking again right here, which is not great for us. Like I said, in the last game, it is our worst nightmare. So Aqua goes first. He sets casts a Moss Station in attack, sets 1 back row, and passes it over to us. Not too afraid of the Moss Station, at least if it's an aggressive Moss Station, because it has an effect where in the end phase, if it attacks, it has to swap itself to defense. So it's only got a 1 defense, not too big of an issue there, unless it just sits in attack. If it can play some good defense against a deck like ours while it's just sitting in attack. So we'll see how that works out. So we go with the cast of the Narpoon here. Narpoon allows us to search for a 1-cost Frost Elestral and add it to our hand. We've got a couple different options here. We can grab one of the more Frosts, which aren't going to do us a whole lot of good right now. Chelotl is another option here. Chelotl at least would be able to do something in the matchup for us. So we decide to go with the Chelotl here. Add that to our hand here, and we just have to pass it back over to Aqua here. So he's gonna draw a card for turn. We're kind of hoping he gets a little bit aggressive with the Moss Station, just so we can actually clear it. One thing I've noticed about playing against Aqua, he's a very calculated player. He likes to think about his plays and make the best plays, where sometimes I feel like I get a little trigger happy and just throw stuff out there. So probably should take notes. Aqua goes with another cast of Moss Station here. It's misenchanted with a Leviathan, which is something to take note of. Foreshadows a potential Ascension play next turn, so if we have a way to get rid of one of the Moss Stations, probably should take that one out. Also worth noting that because it's misenchanted, it does not get the Monstation effect of +2 for each Earth Spirit enchanting it. So if we have something to get over it, it needs to at least be 5 attack. And it looks like we just go with a defensive play here. We cast a Morfrost misenchanted here. And just like I thought, he is going to be able to throw out the Owloon and ascend over the Monstation into the Draking once again. So gets out the Draking much earlier in this one. Bad news for us. Same reasons as last game. And ironically, since we opened the water pack and added the entire pack to our hand for our pity pack, or to our deck, I should say, he is able to gain a lot of value off of our cards, since Draking only allows enchanting with water and lunar specifically. So not a great position to be in for us. He clears the Narpoon and decides to take it, and he does not have any targets in his deck, so he's not able to use the effect, and he passes it back over to us. Once again, also deciding not to attack with the Monstation. Doesn't want to lose it with its tiny 1 defense here. I go with a cast of the Pandolins here. Trying to figure out which spirit is the best, and we decide to go with a Leviathan. Just in case there is a tsunami back there, we go ahead and swing over the Narpoon that he stole from us the last turn off the Draking. I think there was a miscommunication here. He thought the Draking or the Narpoon had a 4 defense. So get that cleared up, clear the Narpoon off the board. Still not leaving us in a good spot. He can still just take the Pandolins from us pretty easily here. And it looks like he decides to go with a cast. With a cast of the Boom Bat. So immediately disenchants the Boom Bat here. And he decides to pop the Morfrost here. So interesting play there. He probably could have just kept the Boom Bat on board potentially, and it would have been a bit risky depending on what his back row is. But he could have kept the Boom Bat on board and then potentially re-enchanted next turn and been able to pop each turn and still kept the presence of the Boom Bat on board. However, without knowing what his back row is, can't say that that's a better option. So he steals the Pandolins over there. He will... I think I took 3 out right here. I assumed he was going to attack with the Monstation, but he decides to keep that in attack position. And so I take a damage from the Draking attack over the Pandolins, and then him swinging the Pandolins as well. So I pay 2 spirits of damage right there. I go here, draw a card. Get a lot of cards in hand. A lot of options right here. However, none of them too great. You can see my flashing my cards right there. I've got a couple bears, actually all 3 bears in our list in hand right now. The Urseer, the Urscout, and the Ursicle. So it looks like I'm going to go with a cast of the Ursmog. I think I've been calling Ursmog Urscout this whole time. I get those bears mixed up way too often, but we go with the cast of the Ursmog there, and we do decide to expend a Fire Spirit in order to cast another bear from hand. At this point, we're trying to just decide which one we want to go with. We only have 2 Vipyros, so we can't correctly enchant the Scout here. One of these days, I'll get these bears right. So we opt to go with that one. The Ursicle just searches another bear, so no reason really to go into that one because all 3 of them are either on the field or in our hand at this point. So can't do much there. We put those 2 up just in a desperate attempt to play some defense here and have to pass it back over to Aqua. Aqua's got so many plays here. I know he at least plays 2 of the Drak King, so he potentially can get a second Drak King out. We know from last game he plays the Kuribis as well, so unless he took any of those out, we know he has a couple targets to ascend into if he opts to do that. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. No, it's not. He will ascend, however, it will be into an eddy here, so he opts to change the Ursmog to attack, being able to get a little bit more damage here. He'll swing the Drak King over the Ursmog. We will take a Spirit of damage from that. And he will take the bear from us. And then he will be able to swing the eddy over the Scout. And he will be able to swing the stolen Ursmog for 1 spirit. So we expend a Zaptor right there. I want to say we're around 8 to 10 spirits left at this point. But once again, Drak King is just snowballing, not giving us a whole lot of options here. There's not a single card in our deck that can bring us back. At this point, it looks like we draw the Drops of Leaf there, which not a bad card to get in this position if we had something else in deck that could potentially get us out of this situation. Looks like we opt to go ahead and cast the Drops of Leaf here. It's quite an expensive card, but I feel like it might, once we get some better options in deck, I think it'll come in clutch later in the series. Being able to dig further into the deck and hopefully get something back. So we throw back a Corbrawl, Ursicle, and Chalotl here. Shuffle those 3 back in. Leaf will allow us to draw 4 here. Really what we're missing right now is the one of Earthquake in order to get rid of the Drak King. That would be such a great card to have. So we draw our 4 cards there. And once again, we are in a spot where we don't have too many great options into Drak King. We do have a Mudlet, however, so we will cast the Mudlet out. Looks like we'll switch the Eddy to defense and hopefully be able to swing over. Seemed like our best option, at least to get rid of the 2 spirits there. However, he is looking through his spirit deck, and it looks like he is able to cast the Gorgon's Gaze to stop the attack of the Mudlet. So, not a great position for us, but that's what's going to happen sometimes. Mudlet's sitting there in attack position. He's got, 6 spirits on board to be able to get damage through here, and that's assuming he's not able to ascend. And looks like the token is going away. So Ursmog goes to the grave, to the underworld. He throws down a Zaptor and it casts out another Boom Bat. So just puts us in a worse position. And here I think we went back and forth on if he wanted to actually use the Boom Bat effect here. It kind of does the same thing. Either he detaches and loses the spirit for damage purposes, but clears our 1 spirit Elestral anyways. So he's able to swing in for quite a bit of damage here. I think he goes in for 6 here, leaving us with, I believe, 1 left in spirit deck here. And we missed. He did attack with the Moss Station there. We missed it at that point. That it didn't change it to defense, but it does not matter at this point. So falling to 0-8 here on the series. Alright, falling to 0-3 for the episode, 0-8 on the series. The deck did get a little bit better this episode with the Water Pity Pack from Shattered Stars. I can't wait to cast out that Caprigal for the first time. I think it's going to be a monster for us when we can actually get it out, so hopefully next episode we are able to do just that. We are, about 2 losses away from the next Pity Pack, so either that will be next episode or our first win will come and we'll be able to get a new pack. So looking forward to that, but yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys. Like and subscribe if you do not mind, if you enjoyed, and yeah, we'll see you next time.